What we've got here is failure to communicate.
That's one of the most famous lines from Cool Hand Luke, one of the classic movies of all time. We put together this short video for all coaches in hope that we can avoid any failures in communication. Hello, my name is Mike, and I'm a director for Michigan Amateur Hockey Association. I'm here as the voice of Maha to tell you about some important rules every coach must know. Rules that, if violated, could cause you or your team to face disciplinary action by your district council, resulting in probation or suspension or both. No one wants to see that happen, so please pay attention to what I have to say. The next few minutes could save you, your team, your association, and your district council from an unpleasant situation. Maha recognizes that you are all volunteers and that you have made a commitment to coach amateur hockey here in Michigan. And we would like to thank you for that commitment. Without coaches, there would be no structure, no discipline, no leadership, and ultimately no games. Beyond your commitment, there's also some modest fees necessary for you to become a coach. First, you must register with USA Hockey. And after that, you need to get a coaching card. So you find a coaching clinic near you and register to attend this clinic. Then you need an age-specific module. So you go online at USA Hockey and register to take the online course. Then you need to complete a background check. So you go online at Maha, complete the questionnaire and the coaching ethics form. And because this is now a national search, there will now be a slight fee. Now that you have completed all the necessary paperwork, you can look forward to practice, games, tournaments, and all the fun the kids look forward to. So now I ask this question. Why would any of you jeopardize your ability to coach by violating some simple rules? As a coach, you need to familiarize yourself with the rules. All the rules. USA playing rules, Maha regulatory rules, your association rules, coaching ethics rules, and coaching code of conduct rules. Nothing saddens me more than having to take a coach to a hearing because they did not follow the rules, or often they claim that they didn't know the rules. I often wonder how many conflicts we could avoid if all of our coaches actually read the USA Playing Rules book or the Maha guidebook. Do yourselves a favor, learn these rules, follow these rules, and teach these rules to others, and you won't find yourself in an unpleasant situation. You won't waste any of my time, and you'll be able to spend your time on the most important thing of all, teaching our youth about this great game. First, I'd like to touch on Michigan's new concussion legislation. I'm sure this has been discussed at great lengths during your coaching clinic, or at least it should have been. Just remember, trauma to the head can be very serious, so you must take every precaution to protect the player. Symptoms may not become apparent immediately and could show up hours later. Once the decision has been made to remove a player from competition, no one may change that decision. Not the player, not a trainer, not a parent, not a paramedic. They are out until you receive a written release from the player's family doctor. Don't take chances on your player's safety. This is Michigan law. For more information, go to www.mich.gov and search for concussion legislation. Also, to further safeguard our youth players, USA Hockey has passed some new rule proposals that are intended to help curb potential injuries, cut down on the repeat offenders, and includes progressive suspensions for major penalties similar to the progressive fighting penalty already in place. These include misconduct penalties, attempt to injure, boarding, charging, head contact, tripping, clipping, and leg checking. USA Hockey has also drawn attention to the helmets worn by youth hockey players. Each certified helmet comes with an HECC sticker attached to the back or side of the helmet. There is an expiration date on that sticker, generally 6 years from date of manufacture. Helmets that do not have an HECC sticker or that are past the expiration date are not permitted to be used. The plastic used in the manufacture of helmets has a limited lifespan and can begin to deteriorate, making them unsafe for players. At this time, there is no penalty assessed, but the penalty must be immediately removed from any on-ice activity and replaced with an approved helmet. While we all know that coaches must be registered with USA Hockey, it is now possible for all team managers, trainers, volunteers, scorekeepers, timekeepers, penalty box personnel, locker room supervisors, board members, and district personnel to register with USA Hockey at no charge. This registration will not allow you to participate in any on-ice activities, but we encourage all these volunteers to register this season. You will receive a confirmation number, which you should take to your local association registrar to be claimed by your local association. I also need to touch on the new Safe Sport program that I'm sure you've all heard about by now. The United States Olympic Committee has developed this program for youth sports across the country. The USOC has mandated that USA Hockey implement this program immediately. It is intended to bring attention to any situation that might harm youth hockey players and to make all coaches, volunteers, and even parents aware of potentially harmful situations and how to avoid them. There is a 90-minute video free of charge for you to watch online at USA Hockey. You can watch it at any time, and it is broken into segments to make it easy to fit into your schedule. It is great information to have. Every coach is responsible for the actions and behavior of all their players and staff, both on the ice and off, in the locker room, the hallways, the lobby, both at home and away. You can't do it alone, so establish a code of conduct for your team and don't hesitate to use your assistant coaches and your parents to enforce team rules, and be sure to be fair. Maha expects you to have 2 responsible adults who are background checked in the locker room at all times when the players are in there. It only takes a brief moment for something to take place that may cause an injury in the locker room or a humiliating act on one of the players. So be safe rather than sorry. Any incident of hazing on any players is deplorable and must be immediately reported to your district chairperson, who will contact the vice president of abuse for further action. Hazing is not acceptable at any level and will be dealt with very harshly. USA Hockey mandates that there will be no cameras or cell phones of any type in the locker room. This is not an option. Come up with a plan to collect these devices prior to players entering the locker room, or tell them to leave them at home, or in the car, or with their parents. Every locker room door in the state of Michigan should have a sign that prohibits cameras and cell phones. Please don't take any chances. It only takes seconds for photos to be uploaded to the internet. coaches, assistant coaches, or team staff who participate in on-ice activities must wear an approved helmet while on the ice. Failure to comply with this rule could result in a 30-day suspension for the first offense. Teams are selected by tryout for travel or drafted for house. All teams are limited to a maximum of 18 skaters and a total player count of 20. All drafts must be done in the presence of a district director or the draft shall be declared illegal. Drafted teams must adhere to the sliding scale for first year and second year players found in the Maha Guidebook. Once the team has been determined, the players and coaches must be rostered by your association registrar, who will in turn forward the roster to the district registrar to be certified and stamped. Rosters must be submitted to the district registrar at least 72 hours in advance of your first game. No team may play a game until they have received the signed, stamped roster back from the district registrar and has it with them for all games. In the case of an add-on to your roster, called the supplemental roster, either a player or coach, the same rules apply. You must have that signed, stamped, supplemental roster in your possession before that player or coach is eligible to participate. Here is an example of an official roster. You can see the names of all the players and of all the coaches listed in alphabetical order. At the top right-hand corner, you see the signature of the district registrar and the date it was signed. And at the bottom, you can see the official stamp. It is the responsibility of the head coach to fill out the score sheet properly before every game. Many teams have a team manager or team mom that takes on this job, and that's okay. But it is still the head coach who must make sure that all entries on the score sheet are correct prior to the game. Only those players who are dressed and ready to skate may be on the score sheet. Any player not present must be crossed off. If a player or coach is serving a game misconduct, it must be marked clearly on the score sheet, the number of the player or the name of the coach as serving game misconduct. All coaches on the bench must sign the score sheet, not just the head coach. After the game, the head coach must make sure that all entries on the score sheet are correct before leaving the ice. The team must keep copies of their score sheets for all games played. This is a copy of a normal score sheet. You can see where the list of all players is highlighted. Below that is the area where coaches are listed and where they must sign. You can also see where the number or name of anyone serving a game misconduct is recorded. There is also an area where all penalties are recorded and the area where all scoring is recorded. A team may play in only 2 full ice games in a single day. There is no exception to this rule. In addition, there is a 4-hour rule between games, meaning 4 hours from the end of the first game until the start of the second game. This is mandatory for all invitational tournaments, district and state playoffs, and cannot be waived. Teams from districts 7 and 8, when playing against other teams from districts 7 and 8, may request a waiver to the 4-hour rule for exhibition and league play from their district chairperson. When teams from districts 7 and 8 travel to another district, they must follow the 4-hour rule. Teams from other districts traveling to districts 7 and 8 may request a waiver to the 4-hour rule from their district chairperson. No youth team may occupy the same ice sheet with an adult team for competitive play. A team may apply for a special event sanction for this purpose from the USA Risk Manager for Michigan. No coach may contact a player rostered to another team for the purpose of recruiting that player to his team, either directly or indirectly. You may not have an assistant coach or team official or any of your players or any of your players' parents make contact with the player on another team as well. The only way to talk to another player is to get written permission from the player's head coach. If the coach, the player, or the player's parents say no, that's it. Violation of this rule could bring up to a year's suspension. If there is a deliberate assault on any referee or other game official, including scorekeepers, timekeepers, penalty box attendants, or goal judges, by a player or coach during a game, that individual will receive a match penalty. Violation of this rule is a mandatory year's suspension. Any team that leaves the ice during a game in dispute of a referee's decision will forfeit that game 1-0, and the head coach will receive a match penalty and could receive up to a year's suspension. A coach who knowingly allows the participation of an ineligible coach or player in any game could receive up to a year's suspension. A player or coach who knowingly participates in a game as an ineligible player or coach shall be suspended for not less than 30 days. When a coach or player receives a game misconduct, he/she shall not be eligible to participate in the next game already on their schedule. You may not schedule a game for the purpose of serving a game misconduct. Violation of this rule will bring further game misconducts. When a player receives a game misconduct, they must immediately go to the locker room, where they have two choices: remain in the locker room until the game is completed, or dress and leave the arena immediately. If a coach receives a game misconduct, they must immediately leave the bench and must leave the vicinity of the bench. Any attempt by the suspended coach to continue to participate in the game could result in further suspension or removal from the arena. The head coach of a team that receives 15 penalties in a game will be suspended for the next game already on the schedule. In the event of a match penalty assessed to any player or coach, that individual is suspended from all USA MAHA activities until a hearing by the district council is held. The head coach must report the match penalty to his/her district chairperson within 24 hours by phone or by email. Any complaint of any vandalism or destruction of any public or private property by any team player or staff will be referred to their home district council for review. If the district council finds that a player or players or staff is responsible, they shall have the authority to suspend players for up to a year and any team staff for up to 5 years. In addition, if responsible, those parties will be made to make restitution to the damaged property owners before reinstatement. The district council shall have the authority to suspend any member for conduct detrimental to hockey, either on or off the ice, after conducting a hearing on said matter. abusive or threatening words or actions toward any officer, director, game official, opposing player or coach, or any spectator shall be considered ungentlemanly conduct and shall be subject to disciplinary action by the district council after conducting a hearing on such matters.
You got your mind right, Luke?
It is our hope that everyone has their mind right when it comes to youth hockey. The rules discussed here today are by no means the only rules of this great game. To learn more, go to www.maha.org and read about all the rules and regulations. And I want to thank all of you for paying attention, for watching this video, and I hope that this video will help reduce the number of unpleasant situations your district council has to deal with each year. I think we'd all rather be on the ice. Good luck on your upcoming season.